All right, I think it is a good time to get started. Well, I'm going to hand it over to our president and founder, Matt Jacobson, to take you guys through the Executive MBA virtual tour. And also on the call is our head of curriculum, Anna, who can take you through Canvas. So Matt, I just will warn you, you're on mute. I just have to say that now with virtual meetings, but I'll let you take it away from here.
All right. Thanks very much, Bill, and very happy to be here and presenting with yourself, Anna. So just to quickly introduce ourselves. So my name is Matt, and I'm the founder and president of Ducere Global Business School, and excited to talk you through some of the structure of the program and the benefits of the program, and in particular, the investment return and the value of doing an MBA, which a lot of people kind of know intuitively, but not necessarily in hard numbers and facts. So that's some of the stuff that we're going to go through. So I'll just let Anna quickly introduce herself as well.
Hello, everyone. Just to let you know, I need someone to allow me to share my video. But other than that, I'll continue introduce myself. Yes, I am a director of academic affairs for Ducere. My role is to oversee the business curriculum. And I'd like to explain to others that I'm really in charge of making sure what students learn, how they learn, and who they learn it from. So I also oversee the faculty as well.
Excellent. Thanks, Anna. So the structure for today is I'm going to go through a quick presentation that actually demonstrates what the program looks like and how it works. And then Anna and I will be available for a Q&A at the end. So any questions, feel free to ask. So with that, I'm going to quickly share my screen and start a presentation on our executive MBA in collaboration with the University of East London. So I'm going to just mention a highlight of the vision in the middle here of what it is we're really trying to achieve and what's at the heart and core of everything we do. So our vision is to design and deliver the world's most industry-applied university degrees that advance students' careers. That's a really critical statement that really deals with everything that we do in our MBA programs, being the most industry-applied degrees. Many of you might have heard from other people going to university, a little bit of skepticism or generalizations about you read out of textbooks and you go to lectures and they don't typically have very much to do with real work and real skills. And so this is what we are recognized all over the world for being the most industry applied, career-focused degrees. And we'll talk a little bit about how we do that. But before we get into the industry applied nature of our degrees, which I'll come back to, the first thing I really wanted to touch on is why do a degree at all? Like really, what is the benefit? Obviously, there's some effort involved in getting a degree. And as I mentioned earlier, some people kind of intuitively have a sense that a degree is a good thing to have and will be helpful for career and future, but not necessarily knowing the specifics. What does it actually mean tangibly? So here's some stats from independent bodies, research institutions, whether it's the Financial Times, Forbes, the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, that give you hard data. So the first one here, $1 million in additional earnings on average over a 10-year period for people with an MBA, according to Forbes. So that's a massive amount of money, obviously. So you're not talking about a little bit of extra money or unknown how much extra money it is, but according to Forbes, it's $1 million of extra earnings over 10 years. 40x is your return on investment over a 10 to 20 year period. 40 times the average MBA cost is your return on investment. That's a pretty phenomenal investment. It's much better than putting your money in the stock market or anything like that, investing in yourself. Often the income can actually, in real dollar terms, be almost twice what your salary is without a degree. or a 92% salary increase is a different way it's expressed here. The graph on the right-hand side kind of just shows you that according to averages from the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, what you're earning with no degree, which is around $900 on average, what you're earning if you have a bachelor's degree, around $1,300, and with a master's, an average of $1,600 a week. So it is almost double between having no degree to having a master's qualification. And for those of you who are not sure, you can actually leapfrog the bachelor's with real world experience. So you can go straight from no degree straight into a master's program. So the structure of the program, just very quickly, what does it actually mean to do a degree? It's 6 subjects. That's very streamlined. A lot of traditional MBAs are 12 subjects. So this is 6 courses delivered 100% online. So it's flexible around your schedule. There are no exams. All of the formal assessments are tailored applied projects, which we'll talk a little bit more about. And you have support, student support, academic support, all the way through the program. So it's 12 months, 6 courses, and you will have an MBA with no exams. So that's the highlight kind of structure. Anyone who enrolls into this class of 2024, so anyone who enrolls into the September intake, you'll be graduating next year. By next year, you will already be an MBA graduate. So I'm going to quickly just go back to what I mentioned earlier about the most industry applied. So what does that actually mean, being the most career relevant? So there's a couple of key critical aspects to that. One is this concept of, to be the best, you need to learn from the best. And of course, there are professors and academics in the program that are supporting you all the way through. And that's honestly where most universities start and stop. But for us, the academic faculty is only one component. We also have what we call our global leaders faculty, which is over 250 real world leaders that are presidents, prime ministers, Nobel Prize winners, billionaires, entrepreneurs, founders of Chuck E. Cheese's and Atari and USA Networks, heads of the CIA, heads of the UN, celebrities that you would know of that have had incredibly successful careers. So many, many people that are actually giving their real world insights throughout the entire degree program. That is one of the key areas, is learning from real world leaders. The second critical aspect of being the most career focused MBA is the assessment structure. And what we mean by that is that all of the assignments are actually tailored to your individual career and your business. And so these are some examples of companies we worked with employees at these companies, whether it's Aston Martin, Disney, Save the Children. And underneath, it's talking about actual projects that the students have done on their business for their MBA. So if you're working in banking, you're not going to be doing a paper on an oil company, for example, or on a railway company and just be told by a professor, this is what you have to do a 5,000 word paper on. All of your assignments are on your industry. So if you work in banking, you're doing all your assignments on banking. If you're an entrepreneur and you've started your own luxury brand tequila company, all of your assignments will be on marketing differentiation, strategy, growth of your tequila company. So it's completely focused and relevant to your career individually. And that is really important for a number of reasons. Firstly, it overcomes one of the big objections of doing an MBA, which is time. I've got a full-time job, I've got a family, and now I'm going to take on an MBA on top of all of that. So that feels like a lot to take on and a lot of pressure. And that's one of the key reasons why a lot of people won't enroll, because they'll think, I'd love to do an MBA, I just don't have the time. But when you're doing an applied tailored MBA, you're really getting an MBA for doing research and strategy and assignments on strategic projects that you need to do anyway for your business. So it's not an additional MBA on top of your job, it's a work integrated MBA. So that's really critical in terms of being able to find the time to do an MBA because it's part of your work. The second reason why that's so valuable, if you are working for a health services company, a software company, a bank, whatever it may be, and you want to do an MBA, but you'd love to get a bit of support from your company, maybe they'll provide some of the tuition towards your MBA. Often when you ask a company to support you in an MBA, they're hesitant or skeptical because they're thinking, well, you've got your day job and you're going to go off in lectures doing an MBA that really has nothing to do with our company. But when you explain to your manager that I'm going to be doing an MBA and all of my assignments are going to be working on really important strategic projects of our business, so it's really valuable to the business, then companies are much, much more inclined to support, hence the sorts of companies that you can see here. And this isn't rocket science, right? I think people get practical applied learning being much more valuable and much more relevant than theoretical learning. So we can send you, anyone who's talking to their enrollment advisor, obviously speak to your enrollment advisor and get more details, but they can send you this whole presentation. So I'm not going to go through all the videos now. I'm going to kind of just give you a glimpse of some of the stuff, but just to show you examples of industry leaders talking about applied learning.
Sometimes people come out of universities and they don't quite have a number of practical skills that really matter.
Real learning comes from practical implementations. People can think that they've understood something in a book because they've studied it and passed an exam, but that's a very, very different thing too.
So you get the idea. And as I say, you can get this link from your enrollment advisor and watch all the videos in detail of lots of industry leaders talking about why this program and why applied project learning is so powerful and so relevant for the businesses that our students are working in. So the learning experience here, and if anyone's got any questions towards the end practically about the curriculum or the content or how it works, feel free to ask Anna or myself, but we're just showing a quick demonstration here. The platform is really simple to use, really intuitive, 24/7. You can just go in and whenever it's good time for you, read the materials. There's lots of live sessions. There's lots of academic lectures, lots of coaching live sessions, but you don't have to ever attend any live sessions. Everything is recorded, everything is in the system. So it's designed to be fully flexible around you. As long as you do your assignments and hand them in, you will graduate. And there's lots of study tips and resources on how to write academic papers, how to do applied projects, example projects, and lots of skills development and support there. Many of our students have really worked their way up companies, but have never been to university before and a little bit concerned that they don't have that academic background. But we support all of that with great tips and resources and templates to make it really, really easy to be able to thrive in this environment. Many companies that we work with, a little bit about the University of East London, for those that don't know, it is in the top 5% of ranked universities in the world. It's in the top 250 universities in the world for young universities. It was founded in the late 1800s as a British public university. So full campus in the UK. You'll be studying, obviously this program is fully online, but you'll see in a moment about graduating on campus in London, but the program is delivered online. And a bit about us, we have media recognition and have won awards from all over the world for being a leader in industry applied learning. A little bit more on the accreditations and memberships, and just for anyone in the US, because this comes up in the US quite often. I think anyone in Europe or Australia knows the accreditation of the University of East London. But for those in the US, it often gets asked, and just to make sure that everyone is aware, it is fully registered and approved as a higher academic institution by the US Department of Education. So the University of East London is fully registered and approved by the US Department of Education. So much so that if anyone wanted to get a Sallie Mae loan, it is the exact same process as going to UCLA or Yale. There's no difference at all. So it is fully approved and registered in the US as well. So investing in your future, we talked about the benefits, not only financially, but important to note that it opens up so many more jobs and so many more job opportunities, and puts you really at the forefront of jobs and opportunities for promotion. And a lot of people don't realize, why that's the case and how that works. But just think about a really simple example. Let's say you're applying for a promotion or applying for a job. How many resumes would you guess whoever is in charge of that hiring is going to receive in their inbox? 100, 150, sometimes even more than 150 applications. Let's say there's 100 and 50 of those have no degree, 25 have a bachelor's degree, and 25 have a master's qualification. What do you think happens in that hiring environment? The reality is they're not going to spend weeks and weeks going through every one of 100 or 150 applications. They're looking for shortcuts and looking at how do we sift to the top the best potential candidates. So they'll go straight to those 25 that on the resume says MBA, master's qualification. And maybe if they can't get the right suitable candidate there, they'll start going down further and further. But they're going to start off with those that have the highest credentials with the best experience. And if that's not scary enough, that's what individuals will do, there's even worse news. And the worst news is you're all hearing about AI. It's everywhere. You can't avoid it. A lot of systems in hiring now are using AI tools, and the AI tools will just rank and preference degrees. So you're almost not even going to get looked at unless you have that higher qualification. And in some cases, it's just a technical requirement. So we work with government departments, for example, the California Fire Department. To get to a certain level of seniority, it's just a rule. You cannot even apply unless you have a master's level qualification. So for a whole range of reasons, it's really a great feather, in your bow to have. Entry criteria. Typically, an MBA requires a bachelor's degree. And what we really, really focus on is practical real world relevance. So of course, if you have a bachelor's degree, you can apply for this MBA. But what is unique is you can apply and gain entry purely on management experience. So if you have 5 years of running your own business, being a team leader, being a supervisor, being a manager across various roles that you've had, if it adds up to 5 years of practical team leader management experience, you can get straight into this MBA and you don't have to do a bachelor's degree. So that's a huge, huge advantage. There's actually millions of people around the world who are working as managers, but never had a chance to go to university or started university like a Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates and didn't complete. Most universities would just reject a Bill Gates or a Richard Branson or a Michael Dell. Sorry, you don't have your piece of paper with a bachelor's degree. We find that kind of crazy that someone could say Richard Branson doesn't have the skills and experience to undertake an MBA. So as long as you've got 5 years of management experience, that's all you require for entry. In terms of fees, the scholarship rates for this last intake of 2023. So normally the fees in US dollars are around $25,000 US dollars, which in itself is already a really great rate. We're a social enterprise and we're all about access to everyone for higher education. So $25,000 as a total published fee is already a really, really strong rate compared to most MBA qualifications. But with the current scholarship for this intake for September, the scholarship rate brings the total tuition down to $14,600. And one of the great things we get asked a lot, are there any additional costs on top of that? And we always say that's such a great question to ask because often, in fact, most universities have many hidden costs. There's application fees, there's admin fees, there's annual fees, there's extra textbooks, and it adds up to a substantial amount. When we're talking about a tuition of, say, $14,600, that is the 100% end cost. There is no application fee, no IT fee, no other books you need to buy. It covers the total cost to you from end to end to undertake the MBA. So that's a really great price. And then graduation, making your dream a reality. Of course, you're not required to fly over to London, but it's such a great experience. And most of our students see that as a really incredible highlight, that cap and gown on campus, and you graduate with a whole range of cultural and travel tours and seminars and networking events. And it's a really, really fun and great experience to be at the university and called up and getting your degree. So hopefully we'll see a bunch of you there. So the question is, can you see yourself as an MBA candidate? Again, I'm not going to go through this whole video. There's kind of 4 or 5 minutes of people just like you that were thinking about an MBA, you know, had some reservations, had some questions, but were able to push through it. So I'm just going to show you a couple of seconds of that so you kind of get an idea. But again, go back to your enrollment advisor and ask them to give you links to the whole presentation or talk you through any particular aspects. So I'll just show you what we mean there.
The market out there when looking for a job is quite competitive, and by having something like this under your belt, it would support that career progression.
A colleague of mine told me, "Hey, have you heard of this this program?" I'm like, no, I don't have a bachelor, so it doesn't matter. You know, like I can't get a master's without the other one. And he said, no, check it out, because with what you've done in business, you might be able to apply that as your prerequisite.
The combination of webinars, project work, and then your own time study.
So again, you get the idea there, but there's like lots of examples of students talking about their personal experience, what they were excited about, sometimes what they were really hesitant or what their reservations were. And, you know, oftentimes thinking, you know what, I'm just going to not go ahead and not do this MBA because X. And then how they were able to overcome that because so affordable, so practical, no exams, fitting into your schedule. Like a lot of the reasons why people can't typically achieve a university degree, we think a lot about how to overcome all of those barriers, because the dream that we have is that every single person who wants a degree should be able to attain that dream. And so we're constantly thinking about how to provide the best support and the best environment for people to thrive and to graduate. So that's pretty much it. The last thing I'll just mention, and then if anyone has any questions, please throw it into the chat. So the deadline to apply is August 11th. But a couple of things about application, and your enrollment advisor can literally take you through step by step, but it is super easy. There's absolutely no application fee. So there is no downside in applying and seeing if you qualify. But as long as you have either a bachelor's degree or a total of 5 years supervisor or management experience, you'll be able to get entry into this executive MBA program. So there's no application fee. The application is an online application. It only takes about 10 minutes. There's a couple of little things that you need, like copy of your ID, a resume, one reference letter, but essentially it'll take as little as 10 minutes to apply. And within a couple of days, assuming you have that management experience or a bachelor's degree, you will get within a couple of days, within typically 48 hours, a letter of offer that you've been accepted into the program. So you can scan this barcode here or speak to your enrollment advisor about the program and the application process. But as I say, there's really nothing to lose in applying, because there isn't even a small fee to apply. So hopefully that answers a lot of the questions about the program and how it works. And if there's any questions, please feel free to ask Anna any academic questions or assessment questions, or myself, just in terms of our vision and strategy and how we work supporting students in every part of the world. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Matt.
Share there.
So we do have a question here. This one will be for Anna. Anna, the question is about the module for finance of managers and any detail around that course that you could provide.
Sure, certainly. So finance for managers course, this when we hear the word finance, that gets all the students a little bit concerned, but I will say that actually this class is one of our highest rated classes. After every class, we have students give them the opportunity to evaluate our instructors and the class content for us to continuously improve. But regardless of that, I pulled up the assessment for the finance class to kind of give you an idea of what would be expected out of you. So in that class, you are really learning how to do a financial analysis for a company. For this finance class, we have to do things slightly different. We provide finances for a company because a lot of times students, their finances are, protected. But of course, if you have your own organization that you want to do, I'm sure you can speak with the instructor and they can tailor the assignment accordingly. But you're really looking at the financial statements, learning how to read those, and looking at the financial ratios, learning how to read those. And based on that, what kind of how healthy is the organization, and what would you suggest to make improvements? Another section of that, you're looking at how about financing, how you can finance your company or a specific project, and the risk and return on those, learning how to calculate some of that information. And then lastly, looking at how, like, the idea of cash flow. So you are given a scenario where you look at the numbers to see if a particular project makes financial sense. So as you can see in what Matt was saying, that is all very applied based. So even though you might use a different company for this assignment, you definitely could apply the same knowledge and the skill set that you're learning to your everyday work.
Thanks so much, Anna. We have about 5 questions, so I want to make sure we get to all of them. But one question, there's about 2 questions here about if it's possible to see Canvas. I know we saw a small window in the virtual tour, but if you're able to share your screen, Anna, just to kind of show just a little bit of what Canvas looks like, just from a user standpoint, that would be great. And if it takes some time to get up, I can move on to another question. But if you have it ready, we can go ahead with that.
Yeah, I had it up and running. So are you able to see this?
I am.
Okay. All right, wonderful. So this is Canvas, and I would say it's one of the top leading learning management systems in the world. So we definitely have invested in, the top of the line learning management system. And what's beautiful for this is where your whole classroom is. So you only have one thing to go to. This is where all your readings are, all your assignments are. And then let me show you. So this is kind of the introduction, and I'll show you the chapters. And like Matt was saying, that we build these classes based on the understanding that you, for the most part, are all adult students. So you have a limited amount of time. So we really structure the classes, and all the classes are structured in the same way. So it's consistency. So you don't have to, once you get an idea where something is, it's always going to be there in every of your classes. So this, kind of helps lessens the time of that learning curve, just getting started learning online. But for this, you can see that we break up concepts and then break it up into big chuckable lessons. So this makes it easier to learn. I'm showing an example of digital transformation. So you can see that we have multiple lessons here. Some classes have discussions, so it's the engagement between students. And then you also have a grade book, so you can always tell exactly where you're at, your progress of the classes. This also has ability to have calendars and such. So the homepage would list, I'm showing here, up here, right here, you would have a list of all the calendars of when your assignments are due or when the discussions are due. And real quickly, other resources besides that is we have our Macy Ray SKM library that's all online. So you can, access library, do your research straight from connection with Canvas. And then we also offer student resources too.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Anna. And this next question could be either for Matt or Anna. We have a question here of, realistically, how many hours a week do I need to invest to complete the MBA? And it's a lot of time.
Yeah, that's a great question. And Anna, you might want to add to it, but we typically say it's about 10 hours a week throughout the 12-month period. So a couple of things to keep in mind with that. One is that we've got this really, really great system that students love, where you're only ever taking one class at a time, one subject at a time. So you're only ever having to think about and focus on one class. With a lot of universities, you're running multiple classes at the same time. You're like, oh, I've got this assignment due next week, and then I've got another assignment due in 10 days. And you're trying to juggle multiple things. So you do one class, you finish it, you move on to the next class, you finish it, and so on. So that makes it really streamlined. The other thing is, we say it's an average of 10 hours a week, and you will have readings, and you're going to want to join some webinars and academic sessions. And that's all amazing, because you want to be in a cohort with students from Sri Lanka to New York to Sydney to London. And that's one of the great exciting things about the program. So you will be spending time and meeting other students and being on sessions and doing reading. But keep in mind, even though we estimate that the assignments are typically working on projects that you want to be doing anyway. So you're working in a company and you're doing the marketing subject, strategic marketing, and you're thinking about expanding into Latin America. Your assignment is a market entry strategy for your company on the Latin American market. So you could look at it as, well, I've got to spend 10 hours or 20 hours on my assignment for my MBA. But you could also look at it as, I'm not really spending any time on my assignment for my MBA because I wanted to do that project anyway. So it's quite integrated in that way. But still, that's a long answer to a short question. How long do we typically advise? We typically say, assume that you're going to spend about 10 hours a week.
One other thing I would like to just comment on that is that one thing wonderful about our program is it's completely online. So a typical traditional university, you would be going to classes and listening to lectures, and then you're doing outside time for homework. This, since it's online, you can access it any time of the day. So we have many students, like especially I think of parents, you put your kids to bed, and then that's when you get on and do your homework from 11 to midnight, or you're a morning person, you get up early in the morning, or what I've heard other students say, they take their kids to their practices, and that's when they can read the materials. So there's a lot of flexibility within that.
Great, thanks so much, Anna and Matt. We got another question about what employers think of an international MBA. So compared to a US to university, what would it be like getting an MBA from UEL and presenting that to companies in higher ability?
Yeah, so that's a really good question and an important question. And there's no right answer to that, in the sense that every person has a different view or a different opinion on what they prioritize and what they think is important. So whether Yale is better than USC, whether University of East London is better than a much more academic school like Queen's College. So different people can have different opinions, but what I can say quite confidently is the general corporate employment market is fairly skeptical about the actual skills that you learn in an academic program. So on one hand, they want the letter, they want the credential. So just having the letters is already a huge plus. On your resume, on your LinkedIn, it'll say MBA beside your name. But a lot of people are skeptical about the actual skills. And the reason we have students from Apple and Morgan Stanley and just so many of the biggest companies in the world, government departments, defense department, LinkedIn, I could go on and on, as well as small businesses. They're not only students coming from big companies, is because of those two things I mentioned before. So when you're speaking to an employer and you're saying, I did an MBA and I learned from presidents and Nobel Prize winners and CEOs about their real world experience. I learned strategic negotiations from a former head of the CIA. That already opens a conversation to, wow, that's different. That's so much more interesting. Tell me more about it. And the second thing is that because you're doing applied projects on your industry, normally an employer wouldn't even ask you, what did you learn in your MBA program? They just kind of assume you did some academic stuff and some case studies. But in this case, let's say you're in cryptocurrency, you can actually be having a conversation and saying, here's a project I just worked on cryptocurrency and emerging technologies in the cryptocurrency space. I did another project around dealing with cybersecurity threats and analysis in the cybersecurity space. So then the employer's like, oh, wow, you've just done this really top level research and practical applicability in our industry. So for me, that's what drives the conversation and the relevance, that it's not just, yeah, I can show you my nice piece of paper that's a degree that I can hang on my wall. It's I can actually talk to you about real world lessons that I've learned and real projects that I've actually worked on. And it's not just getting a new job. Many of our students actually get a promotion within their current employer, and they often get a promotion before they've even completed their degree, because their employer, their managers are seeing the level of work they're doing applied into the company, and they often get recognition for that and get promoted before they've even graduated.
Fantastic. Thanks, Matt. Another question that we have is on the Global Leader faculty. So maybe for Anna or Matt, but the question is, how is those global leaders that we saw in the presentation, how are they integrated in the course, and how do you learn from them?
Anna, do you want to answer?
Yeah, I can answer that question. So all the global leader videos are inserted into each of your classes. So the benefit of that is we are able to share lots of different leaders within one topic. So for example, the digital transformation class I showed you, and there's multiple different leaders from different industries, different parts of the world. So you're different perspectives on things. So you're able to learn from a lot of different type of leaders.
Fantastic. And then last question, and if anyone has more, just feel free to use the Q&A. And this last question that I have so far, going to either be Matt or Anna, but it actually goes to Matt's point about customizing your degree. So this question is about the trend in AI and customizing the degree to their company, utilizing AI, installing AI into their operations. So would that be possible for that?
Yeah, that's a great question, and obviously very topical and coming up often. And AI just is going to have the potential, if it's not already, in impacting on every aspect of our lives. So some people might think, oh, I'm not really into technical IT, computer programming, so IT or AI doesn't really affect me personally. But if anyone watches Netflix or HBO, which I'm assuming is pretty much everyone, AI is going to affect you, because all of the actors are about to go on strike. And one of the reasons is they're concerned about jobs and job security, because a lot of the scripting is now being done by AI, and even AI production and images of actors being used that they're not getting paid for. So this is a problem. If you're applying for a credit card, applying for any type of loan, car loan, you might not know this. You think some human is actually reviewing your application and giving you an approval for a loan. Actually, it's an AI tool almost all of the time. And that's really problematic, because when if you get denied for a loan and you actually go to the bank and say, hey, I'm earning money and I've got a pretty decent credit score, what's going on? the manager will literally say to you, sorry, I don't even know, I can't answer you, because the AI just generates the answer and we don't even know how they do it. So AI is affecting every aspect of life. And getting back to the question around application, yes, because you can tailor the degree. So you think about something like marketing, and marketing and AI might not sound at face value like they're very connected, but they are. So you might be doing a marketing subject and you want to look for your particular company. How can ChatGPT and AI and emerging technologies in that space enhance our marketing efforts? So that could be the project you're doing in your marketing assignment. In organizational behavior, you might be looking at diversity and equity in a large company, and you can look at inherent biases in hiring practices from AI tools and how to ensure that use of those technologies is not going to create disadvantage for minorities. So in so many different ways, if AI or technology is the focus, you can focus and tailor the degree on the really critical and important things for your business.
Fantastic. I think that is it for the questions. I think that's a great way to end. So thanks, Matt, President Founder of Ducere. Thanks everyone for joining. Anna, thanks for joining as well, taking us through Canvas. Anyone that didn't join, you'll see this on the recording. So we'll get that sent out to people that are also joined live, and then make sure that you reach out to your enrollment advisor. As Matt said, the scholarship rate is the last time for this intake for 2023. Reach out to them and get that application started, since there's no application fee. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot. See you, everyone.